Okay guys, don't worry, I'm not squidding. That's just a dynamic entrance to make this video a little more exciting for you, because today we're gonna get down and we're gonna give you a long-term review on the XSR 900, and believe me, it's worth sticking around for. We've got 20,000 kilometers on this thing, and I've done 2 massive long road trips within 10 days. Like, we're talking 7,000 kilometers in 10 days with a bike like this. So how does it fare? Well, stay tuned and we're gonna tell you right away. So those of you who watch the channel, you know I really like this bike. And after 20,000 kilometers or in miles, okay Google, what is 20,000 kilometers in miles? 12,427 miles later, I'm here to give you a review on this bike. So let's turn it around and get into it here for you guys. Let's get you a nice look at it here. All this noise going on around here. I love this bike, I love it. And you're gonna love it too if you're looking to purchase. Oh my. Ha! Oh, it's much better. I couldn't take it anymore. There's so much noise out of there. I had to scrap everything. I came back and looked at the footage, and it was like there was a party of noisemakers going on behind me everywhere. Not just that dump truck, but then a skid steer came along. It was horrendous. So I thought I'd come back to my beautiful wall of motorcycles and Coca-Cola to tell you the rest of this story about the XSR 900. So let's get into it, guys. Sorry, but we're not going to enjoy the beautiful weather outside today. By the way, guys, I'm taking down this studio right away. Sold this spec house because I'm a home builder by trade. And yeah, I have to take all this down because I don't think the new owners are going to want it. So we're gonna have to figure out another way to make a studio sometime. But let's get into the XSR 900 long-term review so you guys can see if it's the right bike for you. Okay, what other bikes are in this bike's class? So here's the choices as I see it for these bikes, at least in Canada here. So we have the Suzuki GXS 750R. That's a solid choice. We've got the Z900 from Kawasaki that really seems to be doing good in the reviews this year. They just put that bike out. That looks phenomenal. They have the Street Triple, which has always been a great class leader. It was kind of the original naked under 1,000cc killer that everybody's been trying to keep up with for a long time, right? Then we've got the FZ09, which is basically the XSR 900, but with a more futuristic transformer look and more sporty than this retro-styled XSR 900. So you've got quite a few selections here, and they're all phenomenal selections. Now, what sets the XSR? Why would somebody take this XSR over any of those other bikes? Well, number one, it's the only one styled the way it is. Now, whether you like it or you don't, that's kind of up to you. But I'm assuming that because you came to this video, XSR long-term mileage update and review, that you're probably looking at this because you like the style. And there's nothing like it in this class. With this kind of power and everything and a retro style, there's nothing like it. This bike is one of the neatest bikes that's come out. It's not like a Japanese bike. It's more like a Ducati. You can remove the tank panels, swap them out. You can customize it. There's tons of different things you can do to this bike to make it look really different and to individualize it. It's pretty phenomenal, all the things they have out for it. Right from making it a cafe racer to making it more of an off-road machine to you name it. The customization is where it's at with this bike. It's got all the handling of the other bikes I mentioned, but it's fully customizable. Now, either you like that or you don't, but put that in the comments below. What are you gonna do to your XSR 900 when you get it? I've been riding a lot of bikes, guys, and I can tell you right now that this is one of the most complete engines I've ever ridden. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go out on a limb right now. I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna put it out there for you guys. This is the best engine I've ever ridden in a motorbike. I'm not saying it's the fastest motor or the screamiest or the nicest sounding or anything, but from 0 all the way up to top red line of what, 11,500 RPM, this bike has power throughout. There's not really a low spot on it. It's a gorgeous motor, and it's what everybody else says. You know, the 900 triple that Yamaha puts out is a phenomenal motor, and still, after 20,000 K, I am loving that motor, and there's no way around it. So let's get into some of the other parts of the bike. We all know the engine's phenomenal, we read it all the time, but what about some of the other things? Like, how about the brakes? Brakes are pretty strong, actually. Brakes are very good. They're not Brembos, but in this price category, and for most people that don't take bikes to a racetrack, and even people who do want to take it to a track day, the brakes are pretty impressive. They'll, you know, my buddy, he rides a Bandit 1250, and that's a fairly sporty bike, but he gets on this bike, and the first couple of times he hits the brakes, he's just like, whoa. And it's a pretty good bike. The only thing that it doesn't keep up with is the top of the line Brembos. Suspension is pretty decent. It can be a little bit bucky, but again, in this price category, we're talking under 10,000 Canadian here. It's pretty phenomenal. I was railing a lot of corners there. You can bend the tires right over, you hit a bump, and it really doesn't do that bad. I know there was problems with the XSR when it first came out, and I think they've got that kind of ironed out, but I think just by the fact that you move back a little bit on the seat, this XSR actually handles pretty nicely, pretty neutrally, and it soaks up the bumps pretty good. It's pretty nice, it's pretty compliant. Okay, let's get into something else. Let's get into the comfort on the bike. How does the seat go? All right, a lot of you might want to know if this bike is good for long distance riding, like what I've done. Like, I've taken the bike, I just got back from Utah and Colorado, and I live way down in basically central Alberta. So it was a 7,000 K trip. So I was averaging over 700 kilometers a day. For those of you in the US, that's going to be what, I was 700 kilometers. Did I say that? Or did I say 7,000? Anyway, 700 kilometers a day I was averaging. And, you know, so you're looking at about 400 and some miles per day, and pretty good. It was way too hot, so my butt was getting sore on a few of those days, but the seat was very comfortable. The Anniversary Edition is a little bit different than the other seats. You wipe off rain, and it's good to go. You don't soak yourself anymore. It's a really nice seat. It's pretty comfortable for what it is. It's obviously not an Aspen Cade or one of those K1600s from BMW, but it's a pretty darn comfortable seat for all day riding. Didn't really notice that much discomfort until about 500 K, and I usually do on any bike. When I get to that point of the day when you've done a good 5 hours of riding, you start to feel it a little bit. The shifting on the bike, spot on. Haven't had a problem with it. I've maybe missed 3 shifts, maybe hit the neutral since I bought the bike. That's pretty good. That's 20,000 kilometers. It just shifts flawlessly. I haven't had any problems with the shifting whatsoever. What have I done to the bike would be, let's see, I've changed the tires. The typical of the Japanese, they put the cheapest tires they can possibly buy on. I don't even know what the brand name of them were. But by 5,000 kilometers, my back tire was shot completely. And the minute I put on the new tires, which are Pilot 4s from Michelin, the kind of ugly looking tire, but really good practical tire. You can lean over in corners, you can ride in rain, you can do like really good tire, long lasting tire. You notice the handling right away. Like, I thought the bike was good handling before, but man, I was just leaning over that much more confidently into the corners because it tracks so nice. As soon as you can get rid of the tires, the better. All right. I've also gone through a chain on the bike, and of course about 4 oil changes. The chain and sprockets I just had to replace. They are $350 Canadian plus installation. For me, I got the install. I don't like messing around with stuff on my bikes. Get a mechanic to do it, so it's 500 Canadian. Comment below if you think that's too much or not enough or whatever, if you think I got a deal. But those are the Yamaha sprockets, because the front sprocket actually has some rubberized dampeners on it. So I thought, well, if I go with another one, it might be more vibratey. So I went with the stock sprocket system. So how does the bike travel? I obviously went on these trips, and you know how the seat felt. Well, honestly, it travels really good. There are some luggage options that you can get for this bike. My luggage didn't fit, and it looks like if you're gonna put luggage on this bike, you're going to have to get some of those ugly racks and stuff from Keep the Luggage from going in. It's got such long travel, like the seat's so far from the tire that your luggage always wants to fold in like this. That's the problem I had with the old ones. That's why I just bungeed my stuff on. And funny story, last year I lost all my clothes and everything. All my luggage went flying off the back of the bike because I tried to hard bungee, like I tried to actually put down ratchet straps, and they loosened off in the rain a little bit. My luggage went flying down the road. This year I just went with a cargo net and everything was fine. Cargo net with 2 bungees over the top, 2 bags, 1 for cameras, 1 for clothes. Everything was good. The bike was phenomenal. I also see a lot of windshields out there and nothing. You guys can comment below if you found one, because maybe I can pass the word on a little bit. But the windshields are as ugly as heck for these, or as small as can possibly be and cool. And I can't see the small ones working. Because honestly, this bike shields you from the wind pretty good. It's not until 80 mile an hour, or like you're talking 130 kilometers per hour, that your neck gets sore. If you're wearing a full face helmet, you're going to have to get maybe a big windshield for it, but it's ugly, and so is the luggage, and that's why I never bought luggage for it. The luggage and the windshields are ugly. They're ugly, they're ugly. You can put in the comments below every time I talk about luggage and especially windshields. People comment below that I'm an idiot and I'm not riding no stupid bike with no windshield. I don't care. That's your opinion. That's fine. I think they're ugly. When I see you driving down the road, I'm going to laugh at you because you look ugly. Anyway, comment below. You can get mad at me all you want. That doesn't matter. That's just my fun. Okay, 2-up riding. 2-up riding for this bike. Not the best bike for 2-up riding. The back seat's very small. My wife hates the back seat on this thing. It hurts in no time at all, and she doesn't feel safe on it. So take it for what you will. You can always get your, any of you guys that came from sport bikes and you got your cute girls on the back, they're not going to care. This is probably more comfortable than that, but it's no touring bike for 2-up. It's a 1-person tour pretty much. There's not a whole lot of room back there. So who's this bike for? I think Yamaha kind of created their own category here, and with their Neo Retro. It's a bike that is for people that like a lot of style, but still want to hang with the sport bikes. They're not ready to go into a big old Bonneville that weighs 560 pounds. This bike is super taut, light. It's gorgeous handling. You just really can't beat everything that it can do. And then plus you can retrofit it with and make it look like a classic bike. So I'm guessing they probably hit the target range of the 38-year-old till whatever, 55-year-old male.
You see what I told you, Jürgen? Here in America, all the most swinging chicks can be found in these popular and unique art galleries.
But I've seen some young guys out there like it too, and some older, but you always see some of that bleeding. But I'd say it's more for the guy that likes a classic ride, but came from street, like sport bikes, and wants to keep that sport handling. How does it handle compared to the other bikes that I mentioned at the top of the list? I've ridden a lot of these bikes. I haven't ridden the Suzuki or the new Street Triple, but I've ridden the older one. This is what I think it would boil down to. This bike's a little bit loosey-goosey in the front end to the point where you might want a steering stabilizer. It wheelies on command. It rides, honestly, it's almost like a supermoto. It's light in the front end. It can hang with it, but you need attention. If you're going to be flooring it, like twisting it all the way, you're going to really want to watch what you're doing, because it'll pull back so suddenly and then your hands are jerking on the handlebars and things like that. Whereas you get on a Z900 or the XSR, they handle a lot more like a sport bike. They're a lot more planted. They're a lot more stable feeling. There's that feel of quality and assuredness as you go through a corner. This doesn't quite have that, but it makes up in spades for it in town when you're driving around, when you're doing the majority of your riding around on public days. That's what this bike is for. Just fun. It's a great hooligan bike, and it's going to appeal to guys that like a little bit of style. I'm not saying good or bad style, they just like this style, and some guys are probably going to not like this style at all. If they want a bike like this, they want it to look like more like a Transformer, like all the new ones that are coming out do. Okay guys, so that was it. This bike is in the $10,000 range. It is honestly the best bike I've ever owned, and I can't, what else am I going to say? Obviously, I love it. And I'm kind of torn as to whether or not I want to even trade it in when it gets to that high mileage and I have to get rid of it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I love all the styling little options, all the LED things and little billet aluminum parts and all that. I love all of it. I love everything about the bike. It's fast. It's easy to handle in town. It's super lightweight, only 430 pounds. If I was to replace this bike, I would guess I would replace it with a Z900. Probably, because I'm quite fond of Kawasaki, because my second favorite bike I've ever owned was the Ninja 1000. But what can I say, guys? If you're thinking about buying this bike because you really like the style, you're not going to be let down by anything else on the bike. So guys, thanks for watching. This was 6's Overdrive with your big 20,000 kilometer long-term XSR 900 review. I hope you hit that bell. I hope you share, like, comment, and subscribe. This is 6's Overdrive, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye.